Welcome to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge podcast with your hosts Laura and Aneela, where timeless romance meets modern wisdom.
Welcome back. We're excited for another Vintage Vibe Love Lounge podcast. I'm Laura Doughty.
And I'm Aneela Zaman.
And today we are going to be diving into the world of modern dating as what we are, which is mature women, aka vintage. We're going to discuss the strategies and insights for using dating apps, which is Aneela's expertise, and embracing old school dating tactics.
Yes, whether you're swiping to the right or opting for a more traditional approach, well, this episode, it has something for everyone.
So let's jump right in. Aneela, you know I have this hesitancy about the dating apps, not a resistance, but I do have a little blockage, I guess you could say. I do think that they can feel overwhelming. I do feel like you can be lost in a sea of just, I don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to be negative. The key for me is to be clear about what you're looking for and then to take your time.
All right, let's talk about dating apps. They have become a popular way to meet people. And yes, they can be overwhelming.
And definitely don't be afraid to set boundaries and be selective. I think that's part of finding your vibe, is understanding that boundaries are important and that you have permission to be selective.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more about taking your time with it, and do not be afraid to set your boundaries and be selective. Look, dating apps can be overwhelming, but like anything in life, if you want to really be successful, you have to make the time, put in the effort, and be consistent. I think the reason why a lot of people can find it overwhelming is because they dive so deep into it and then get disappointed and frustrated when they cannot find the person that they want to align with. I had a dear friend who actually was very ready to start a family, get married and start a family. And I loved the way that he approached dating apps. He had carved out 3 days a week. I believe it was Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, where he would get on the app and spend 45 minutes on the app. And I think it's a great way to exercise on reading people's profiles, because you can get an insight. I mean, some people can be vague, but he got really good at reading profiles and, recognizing what vibed with him. And he would start the conversations. And very quickly, you can tell when you start reaching out if that person is receptive. Do they respond in a timely manner, like a day or two, or does it take a week and a half before they respond? And that goes back to what you were saying about creating your boundaries and being selective. Do you want to tolerate someone that doesn't reach out? Or even if they did reach out after a week and a half and you start the communication, do they ghost you again, or do they stay engaged with you? These are all the things that you start becoming aware of when you are approaching a dating app. I personally love humor, banter, and wit. So if I find someone's profile interesting, I'm pretty much approaching it with some light humor. And I want to see, does that person get it as well? Will they come back with a little, tit for tat? Or are they going to is it going to just go right over their head and they're not going to get my humor? So that is one thing for me, is I like to see if they get my style and do they come back to me in a way that keeps me engaged. I also don't like to be on the platform of dating and texting back and forth forever. I'm not looking for a pen pal. I am trying to find my one. So I would love to get on phone calls as soon as possible. I know some people are hesitant about giving out their numbers. my approach to that is you can easily get a Google number for free and utilize that as the beginning to start with someone. And I don't think there's anything offensive. It's just we're all taking precautions. So I would try to get on a phone call as quickly as possible. I also, if I find that I'm finding that I'm, really interested in someone, I will say, would love to meet you. But at the same time, I don't like to put the pressure of really hinting towards a sit down dinner. Let's face it, we are all trying to meet this person that we're out there seeking for. Men take on a lot of pressure of taking a woman out and having to pay for the meal to be a gentleman. So I don't want that pressure on someone, especially when I don't even know them. I tend to offer, because I love to hike and take long walks along the beach, I tend to offer something of that nature to the person, like, hey, would you maybe want to go for a hike, or maybe take a walk along the beach, or go see an art show and grab a cup of coffee or ice cream or whatever, but just to keep it more light rather than, putting that expectation that a dinner, sit down dinner. And I can tell from a guy, because that's typically how I approach it. And I can gauge a man if he says, I would rather take you out for dinner if that's okay. And if he wants to take me out for dinner, I'm like, great. But I didn't put that expectation that he must take me out for dinner. I make it a little more easy and comfortable for him. I mean, truthfully, it's our first time meeting face to face. And that's another thing, talking about face to face. No matter how much the banter is good if we're texting and talking, the real thing is when you meet someone in person, that's when you can feel if your body's getting those, endorphins that run through you going, oh my God, he's so handsome or she's so beautiful. And you really feel the connection when you come face to face with someone. So that's another reason why I try to get there really quick.
Absolutely. That is such great advice, Aneela. And don't forget to stay safe and trust your instincts when meeting someone from an app. Always let somebody else know where you're going to be. And, if you don't get in touch with them at some point, those kinds of things. You could even share your phone location with somebody just for a temporary moment, just for true safe situations.
Yes, absolutely. Stay safe and trust your instincts when meeting someone from the app. I tend to, I ping someone my location, where I am, the time I'm meeting that person, and let someone that my sister or my girlfriend or whoever, I just let someone know where I am, to be safe, because you just never know who you're meeting. And one thing, don't ever let anyone pick you up from home, especially when you're first getting to know them. Make sure you meet them out in public places, but I'm sure you're all aware of that. But for those who don't, please make sure your first few dates are met outside.
So now we're going to move into the old school dating tactics, which is basically, for me, having been out of the dating scene for a while, what I'm going to jump into right now. So what comes to mind for you, Aneela, when we talk about old school dating tactics?
Well, I think there's something so special and charming about traditional dating. Taking that time to get to know someone in person, planning a thoughtful date together, and being present. I mean, for me, I really have been fortunate in my past relationships. They all started off in a genuine connection, old fashioned, truly just meeting them by chance, whether that was in a yoga class, on site on a construction site, or when I was doing makeup and being on location and on set working, or simply just meeting them in the grocery store. There is something so sweet about that, because again, now you're in front of the person face to face the first time you meet. So you can already feel if there's an attraction there of interest, that you want to get to know that person. And nowadays we're so busy looking down at our devices, we don't make eye connection and smile and see if that person wants to smile back to us and shows any interest. But so therefore, dating apps, because we're all glued to our devices and looking down, this is why dating apps have become so prevalent, is that we're just looking on the screen for that person. I mean, have any of you done an exercise? This was interesting. I was with my brother and we went to the lake one day when I was visiting him. We sat at the bench and just observed people going by and made eye contact with them and smiled and said hi to just complete strangers. And the older generation of people that were walking by would smile and say hi and start a conversation. What we quickly realized is the younger generation, when we would say hi, they would look at us a little peculiar, like, why are you saying hi to me? What do you want? And we both started laughing and saying, wow, it's amazing how much our society has changed and how we engage with another person, because we're so disconnected. We're so connected to our devices, yet so disconnected in a society. So that's my 2 cents on the good old-fashioned charming way of meeting someone. I still, on my hikes, I always do this. I look at people, I smile, and I try to see who is going to replicate my energy and give me the same energy back with a smile. And sometimes I get lucky with people giving that energy right back to me. And there are some mornings where I don't get any of it. But that is what it is.
1,000%. For me, it is about that genuine connection and embracing the romance of the courtship. And part of the reason I think why I was so excited to start the charm school was because it is about the courtship. It is about being charming and having magnetism and, finding the fun, finding the joy, finding just a good energy about getting out there and just having fun.
Oh my God, I couldn't agree with you more. Do not be afraid to bring your own unique style and personality into the mix. Being confident and authentic is always attractive. And that's what I really loved about, the old fashioned way of meeting someone, is because you're right there face to face. So there are things about you that come out, or the other person. Like for me, I use my hands a lot when I'm talking. And that gives an insight to someone about who I am. I also do a lot of touching, like I'll tap you on your shoulder or, reach out for you as a way to connect with someone. And so, yeah, just bring yourself, be present, be authentic. These are great qualities and something that someone can see immediately when they meet you.
Just some key highlights when it comes to old school dating tactics. What other camp you fall into? For me, it's about the charm and the romance, as I've already said. So traditional dating definitely emphasizes charm, romance, and the actual personal connections and interactions versus starting off from a very screen space, disconnected space. It's also based on your face-to-face connection. Meeting in person allows you to have that genuine face-to-face interaction, and you have a sense of the chemistry. It also offers a personalized touch. Just like when you do a date with an app, very similar. You can have thoughtful dates, and it gives you the ability to show more sincerity and effort when you're meeting in person for the first time, meaning the first time prior to even seeing them on an app. And it requires true authenticity, because when you're having that in-person interaction, it allows for more of a nuanced connection, and it breaks down the walls of whatever perfect pictures you may want to put up. And the cool thing I think about the old school dating tactics is you're meeting these people through your own community and social circles. So they're kind of already vetted. You're already kind of in the same vibe. And you're probably meeting them through a mutual friend or social gatherings, which makes it a little bit easier to lead into more meaningful relationships. I do think finding a balance between the modern and the traditional approach is key. How do you navigate that, Aneela?
I think it's all about finding what works best for you, because dating apps, for some people, they're using it as a tool to expand their social circles. So sometimes it might not be necessarily to meet the one, but to meet people that maybe enjoy doing certain things that they do: scuba diving, reading books, wine tasting. So uh, again, I'm not going to discount the apps. I think they're a great way to expand your circles. But for me too, I have to say I don't discount the old fashioned magical way of real life connections, because even when you're on the apps and let's say the banter and the chat, text message is going good, until you come across that person, as you said, Laura, face to face, that's when the real magic happens. That's when you can feel if there's chemistry, if you get that, butterfly and excitement in you. So, it's just a matter of when and how you come across that person that does that thing for you.
Exactly. And remember, dating should be fun. You say that all the time. It should be about bringing you joy. So enjoy the journey, and most importantly, stay true to yourself, because any kind of armor or facade that you create, you're going to have to tear it down anyway. And you might as well make sure that they and you like them for who they are, and vice versa from the beginning. Regardless of your choice, clearly some individuals prefer the convenience and accessibility of dating apps, while others enjoy the personal touch of the traditional dating. Most people will use a combination of both approaches, because even leveraging the apps can expand your network, and the old school tactics can deepen your connections. As far as success rate goes, clearly that is individually based, and it's based on your preferences and your strategies and how consistent and authentic you are. So, that people can quote success rates all the time, but at the end of the day, you don't know the true process, the intention, the consistency at which they went about it. And of course, regardless of your age, statistics do show that the older demographics lean towards the traditional dating methods, while the younger generation, who can typically be generalized as being more tech savvy and app oriented, will start with the apps first. Again, ultimately, the choice between the dating apps and the old school tactics depend on you and your preferences, your lifestyle, the desired outcomes in the relationships that you want. And both approaches offer unique benefits and their own challenges. And finding the right balance is key to navigating modern dating successfully.
Yeah, and just remember, dating is an adventure. Enjoy it, embrace the process, stay open-minded, and trust that the right person is out there for you in the right time.
So let's wrap up our discussion on navigating this modern dating as vintage women. I hope that you have found these strategies insightful and helpful. So join us next time for empowering conversations on love and relationships.
Until then, keep embracing your vintage vibe and living your best life.
Thanks for tuning in to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. See you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Vintage Vibe Love Lounge. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Instagram at Vintage Vibe Match. Remember, love knows no age. Get out there and find your vibe, and keep vibing with us until next time. Connect with us at findyourvintagevibe.com.